Residents living in the Rio Grande Valley are at the forefront of the border wall debate.
CBS 4's Imelda Mejia speaks to residents about their experiences living on the border in a special report, The Border Wall Debate.
Almost 2,000 miles of land connect the United States and Mexico. Hidalgo County is just one of many counties with families living on that strip of land. The dirt tells the story of those who patrol it, cross it, and live on it.
This community is made up of the original Spanish land grant, and we're the original families from the Spanish land grants.
It's in the town of Granjeno in southern Texas that we find Vicente Garza.
The wall is right behind the houses right here. Right from where we're standing, maybe about 100 feet. That's where the border wall is.
A cement wall separates Granjeno residents from their neighbors down south. While the wall has helped residents living in floodways, Garza is still against the construction of a border wall.
No border wall. Okay, it just don't make sense at all.
And shows it proudly.
When did this start?
When they first started doing that about the walls that we're going to build. We put that since then. We have not taken it off.
Garza says it hasn't done anything to stop the flow of people crossing illegally into the U.S.
It's a very, very sound structured wall, yeah. But you have people coming over it. They still climb it. I mean, they're prepared to do so.
Or make residents in the area feel any safer.
When we look at a wall, we see people going over it, under it, around it, and through it. We don't see it as the best form of money.
The Texas Border Coalition works to bring attention to the education, workforce, healthcare, border security, economic development, and transportation needs of communities along the U.S.-Mexico border.
We live a very comfortable way of life. And at the same time period, we of all people truly want security because we're on the front line of defense. But we don't want security that's as big this big wall and that's going to secure us when we know it's not going to.
President Donald Trump's executive order to build a wall has once again brought out mixed reactions and emotions among those who have lived with the current wall. Only 700 miles were built, leaving hundreds more without the barrier for several reasons.
The community of Los Ebanos is surrounded by the Rio Grande River. The residents here say that a border wall just doesn't make any sense.
Los Ebanos is home to about 350 people. It is surrounded on all sides by the Rio Grande. Most of its residents have lived in the town for generations.
Los Ebanos will shine tonight. Los Ebanos will shine.
Such is the case for Aleida Flores. She's the proud owner of La Paloma Ranch, a 38-acre piece of land that allows her to visit the Rio Grande as it flows into her backyard.
10 years into my cancer and I'm still here. And this has really helped me out to relax because it was really bad. I took it very hard.
When President George W. Bush signed the Secure Fence Act into law in 2006, the government told her she needed to give up her property for the greater good.
We live it, we work it, we build it up, and then here comes people from the higher ups. I will not mention their name. Higher ups, and they're eventually going to come down and say, hey, you're nobody, get out of the way. So what is it to us? What is our value meant to them? We're nobodies.
The government wanted to take 0.41 acres of Flores' property, paying her $8,800 for the land. The wall would run through her property and cut her away from 28.59 acres of her land.
Let's suppose one of these days we were to decide to sell. I feel that our property value are going to go down, but nobody takes that into consideration.
Months of planning later, Flores was told they wouldn't be building a wall in Los Ebanos after all. Flores thinks it has to do with the soil, not being able to handle the structure. But the wall does have its supporters who also live near the border. Dan Jones moved closer to the border because of the security he feels it provides.
When we lived in Weslaco, our house was broken into and the neighbor's house was broken into, so I don't know that it's any different here. And we have a fence to the south to protect us, so we just need a fence on the other side now.
While Jones is a proponent of the wall, or fence, he says it isn't the best fix, calling it's
a middle-aged solution to a 21st century problem. It doesn't address the problems of poverty in Central America and our country's thirst for drugs.
Most people feel the real fix is up in the air.
You got the means to do it. I mean, you got sensors, you got everything. They got everything. You don't need a wall.
As well as in more agents.
Feet on the ground. My taxpayers' money, I would rather put it on that than to put it on a wall that's just going to be there.
The Rio Grande Valley corridor is among the most active for human and drug smuggling along the 2,000-mile border. In a report released by the DEA in November, the ports of entry are the most common method to try to smuggle drugs.
Invest in our ports of entry and invest in the men and women in blue the same way invest in our men and women in green, but the men and women in blue and the infrastructure at our ports of entry are far more in need, and that is where the drugs are coming over into this country, far more than between the ports of entry.
While President Trump works to build a wall, residents living along the border in the Rio Grande Valley will work to preserve their way of life before and after a wall.
All I want to do is just sit down outside and enjoy the beautiful nature that's around the area.
In Hidalgo County, Imelda Mejia, CBS 4 News and ValleyCentral.com.